Hello, I'm Derek Dohren, and today I'm going to read and review my poem, The Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden. I was moved to tears by news of your untimely life. I remember the day we strolled hand in hand through Elgar country or somewhere, and I pointed out the tree canopies and their crowned shyness. Seasonal fluctuations, you said. Enigma Variations, I said. A lone oak sowing its seeds, your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, but even the Garden of Eden has weeds. I asked a simple question, inviting a single sentenced reply, but instead you launched into a lecture on the properties of yttrium or something, and I just nodded along before I nodded off. Tree huggers at 1 o'clock, you said. The Ladyboys of Bangkok, I said. A lone oak holding on to its leaves. The present is always the best time to be alive, but even the Garden of Eden has weeds. Okay, so we have two stanzas of 14 lines each. Does that make this a sonnet or a double sonnet? No. Sonnets have a very particular structure and set of rules, and this poem doesn't follow those rules. This is a simple free verse poem, although both stanzas kind of mirror one another in terms of vocabulary and structure, but it's essentially a free verse poem. So I love this idea of the mythical Garden of Eden, this place of idealized perfection, having weeds. Now, why wouldn't it? You know, what garden ever in the entire history of the world didn't have to deal with weeds? And what is a weed anyway? It's all very subjective, isn't it? It's just a natural plant growth that's happening in the wrong place. One man's weed is another man's tree of forbidden knowledge. So I'm sure there was a gardener in the Garden of Eden. Why wouldn't there have been? So I performed this poem at a Zoom event last year, and somebody in the audience misheard those last lines as even the Garden of Eden has needs. Okay, I thought, I need to work on my pronunciation. But on reflection, I kind of liked that. I thought, yeah, the Garden of Eden, maybe it did have needs. One of those needs was a gardener. But let's talk about yttrium. Atomic number 39, symbol Y, rare earth metal, used in the production of mobile phones and LEDs and lasers, stuff like that, technological devices. Also found in traces in most biological systems, including human beings, although nobody as yet knows what function yttrium serves in biology. In fact, yttrium in its purest form is highly toxic to people, yet it's in our bodies. So what all that's about, I don't know. Maybe that's something which is destined to be forever forbidden knowledge. I don't know. Just before I go, a word about my two poetry collections, Everything Rhymes with Orange and Wasp in My Cockpit, published by Black Eyes Publishing UK. Cover design by Jason Conway of Create Your Brand, featuring the wonderful artwork of intuitive artist Pelagia Pais. Links down below in the details box. I have some limited signed copies available, and I'm offering free package and posting within the UK. You can find the link at my website on the behind the web store button. Okay folks, that's it. Thank you very much for your continuing support. Please click like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll be along again very shortly for another piece of poetry. Until then, thank you and take care.